customers will come to us 3 or 4 times a year, but our lower end customers might only come once. And our job, and as I said, even though you were a retailer, we're a Photoshop, we're a factory, you only touch us through a digital experience until that product comes in the mail, right? So it's quite a challenge. And so I'm actually not going to talk so much about technology, I'm going to talk a little bit about the human side. And we do a lot of this in terms of how we transform the customer experiences and all the metrics that we use, but ultimately to drive the decisions. So I had a thought about this, about data-driven rather than data-informed. We can over-index on the data, like we are swimming in it. I can tell you everything about the customer in the context of a spreadsheet, right? But that doesn't actually go to the human or the emotive connection of what makes them buy, or what makes them make, or create, or share, or gift, or any of those other elements. And while we can use AI and chatbots and a variety of other tools, it's not necessarily going to help someone engage with the story that they're trying to tell. In some areas definitely, but in other areas not. But competitive companies really anchor to not only the data-driven, but also the human connection. So why do we have data-driven? I mean, obviously it's to understand the customer experience end-to-end, whether it's the voice of the customer, and I'm going to look at actually 2 kind of key areas, but how we use data, and then I'm going to flip it back to the kind of decisions that we make in the design process, so being a designer by trade, all the ways that we put that into reality and in front of the customer. So the first part around the data sources, I mean, you will all be familiar with some of these, but you've got the algorithms, you get promoter score, ABT, MVT, funnel analysis, social listening, all those techniques, but it's what you do with it that actually matters, right? And having the knowledge and the insight to translate that into something that a customer touches. They don't care about what data you know about them, they wonder whether or not when they go into the store the bra fits and they're going to get a good service, whether the photo isn't cropped when it comes out at the other end 2 days later, or that they've been guided through the process to actually make that gift for their parents. So these are the kind of ones that we use. They're traditionally the e-commerce metrics that we have. But I have to say, I've just come out of 3 to 4 weeks of business planning, and everything has been about what are the metrics that we're using to drive up the conversion, drive up growth, and drive up revenue. So we've looked at our users, we've looked at what the uniques are, we've got the high value, we know the conversion metrics, and we know how many people get through the funnel, we know the time on the site, the transition rates, we know how to upsell, all this stuff drives the business plan, right? And then all of a sudden, I've got now a 20% goal to kind of increase revenue across the business. But that's not actually going to give you the answer, right? And it's really important that when we're designing that we kind of get these things out into a real and human form. On the other side, you've got your, as I said, the metrics that we have to understand the behaviour of the customer, so that really traditional digital e-commerce trading and monitoring site performance relates to bottom line growth. And they can have a massive impact. So I won't give you the full stat, but in our Hoffman brand, we have 2 experiences, one that sits on a desktop app and one that sits on the website. The average order value between one product, experience is say €25, on the other it's €50, and it's at the back of one feature. So features and the way that you design experiments can actually have a fundamental impact to the bottom line growth, and also how your customers perform and behave. And it basically comes down to basically buying more, so you cross-sell and you upsell. But part of the challenge I have with the metrics, and I've literally been swimming in it in the last couple of weeks, is it doesn't actually necessarily give you huge growth, and it doesn't actually give you innovation, and it sometimes can create a very disconnected journey. So if your social teams are not talking to your product teams, are not talking to your engineering teams, you can very easily get a very disconnected journey. So while they're trying to increase a metric on social, if it's not actually helping towards getting someone through the funnel and buying more, then I'm going to question the value of that metric, right? So while brand engagement is really important, in the context of whether it helps attract your customers or ultimately that they buy, that's where we're getting to. So then it needs to be seen as a whole, and data on its own doesn't provide that sort of value, so you need to put lots of different sources together. And shipping experiments is only one way to optimise. Sometimes you need to take very, very, very big leaps in thinking, and almost to an extent rely on your own intuition to move forward. And that's particularly in a context like us, when we're dealing with very difficult product organisations. For us, the big one at the moment, which is probably a bit ironic, is around the fact fact that when I joined, our company is called Photobox, right? And everyone in the organisation, because we are a physical product company, is totally and utterly worried about the production engineering, how you print the books, how many books in very quantities. And I said, okay, but what about the photo? And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, you can't make a book without a photo. And they're like, what do you mean? It's like they were completely blind to half a brand. And I'm like, we don't have any teams working on the customer experience for photos. I don't need data to know that. But what I do need is to be able to kind of push the company in the brand a little bit so that we put two parts of the brand together. And part of that too, particularly in a brand like Photobox, there is an element of playfulness. So while e-commerce is actually trying to get you through the funnel, the creation studio is trying to make you sit there for 8 hours making a book and get into that flow of completely not considering or realising that you just spent Sunday afternoon while it's raining making a book, or in fact then 3 postcards and then a variety of other products in our ecosystem. For me, in terms of building that out as a proposition, it's putting those multiple sources together. So what we need to do is teach ourselves as organisations to see as much as the machines and the data that we feed into. Because while we're building out those metrics, it's often the questions that we ask that drive whether or not we actually get the right answers. So it's a very human element to the understanding of data. And that might sound obvious, but I think that, with all the dashboards and all the things that we get in our organisation, sometimes I question, why have I got this piece of data? What value is it providing? Are we actually asking the right questions? So one of the ones that we had at the moment was we weren't tracking how many people were uploading photos. We weren't tracking why people was not continuing through the journey, and it actually comes down to the fact that people get blocked in the upload process, a very simple thing to fix. But if you're looking over at the physical product and not looking over at the photo, then you completely miss that. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about data-informed design, and then talk about the techniques that we use, probably more about the user experience element rather than the customer experience, and putting the qualitative elements connected to the hardcore data sources. Does that make sense? And as I kind of want to reiterate is that the data is more than numbers, right? So it's what we do with it and how we get it in front of the customer in terms of real, live, tangible product features that gets us that change. So A/B tests are very much at the core of what we do. We're testing all the time. Any organisation in an e-commerce context will. Booking.com can run about a couple of hundred at any given time, at any given day. Engineers and the product teams are fully responsible. It's not a separate team. It is not a separate team at Photobox as well. It's the product teams that are constantly, incrementally trying to optimise. But that's not going to get us the big wins, and it's not going to get us the end-to-end improvements. But it is core that we do. Because at a more meta level, experience design is very personal. And when you actually put it in the context of photography, it becomes really easy to understand that. But also in terms of the context of something slightly more tangential. So just bear with me a second. When I try to talk about product, the difference between product design and experience design is when you think about actually designing a wedding. Right? And when you have a wedding, you actually start with a wedding. You don't sit there and go, I want to have this many people, and these are the napkins, and this is how I'm going to, this is the photographer I'm going to use. You usually start with an idea. Something you might have, you go out and research, you collect your own insight, you get your Pinterest boards. I want my bohemian wedding, I want my really big church wedding, and you start to imagine the end-to-end, like how the guests are going to arrive, and all the different elements. Once you get your vision, you then break it down into its component parts. So then you need to find the photographer, you need to find the food, the catering, the venue, etc. Each one of those is effectively a product team. So you then sort of break down into a roadmap and a set of features and optimizations and budget and all those elements. The coming together of all of that at the day is your end-to-end experience. Right? So when you're looking at it in the context of retail and shopping, from the moment the customer might walk into the store, to when they get their gift, to when it's packaged and purchased as part of that whole environment, what they see, the social wall. And I think I really liked to talk before because it kind of inspired me in a number of ways in terms of things that we need to do, even though we don't have retail presence, about bringing that customer end to end. And so part of in terms of, to bring it back to the data-driven element, is that there is a little bit of gut, right? So whether it's user knowledge or the right experts that come through and actually get you the data, the feeling, and the empathy. So one of the things that I do with the teams at the moment is that we do a lot of taking photos. It may seem really odd, but it didn't occur when I joined. for the team. So whenever we have a workshop, whenever we go away, whenever we do something, I make the teams take photos because you've got to take it to make it a Photobox. You cannot make a product if you don't have photos. And part of that is gut feeling. I spent 10 years as a photographer, so it's very innate for me in terms of my background. But if I want an organisation to come up with features and experiences that are going to make people actually buy more physical things, I've got to get them to understand how to tell stories. And then it's putting that data behind it, because we know that if people upload more photos, they put more pages in their book, therefore they make more products with higher AOV, and we do well. So, I'm hoping this isn't too obvious, but I'm going to talk about the value of each of these tools and techniques and the data that we've used to kind of help change the way that we think as a brand. So the first one is, I should ask, in your organisation, who has a full end-to-end customer journey map? Okay. I would probably encourage you to create one. Right? And what that does is it puts all your data, your customer touch points together. So in a Photobox context that didn't exist when I arrived, and all that meant was when a person took a photo, what they did through the journey. So how they decided they wanted to make a gift, how they then put it into the system, made the product, came out the other end, got the packaging, etc. We then put all our metrics over it. So for every stage of the process, we took all the metrics from our customer, so the voice of the customer and our service contact ratio. So we could look at all the problems that they had. We looked at all our inbound marketing metrics, so how we're bringing in new customers, old customers, where they bounce and where they fall off. What they do when they hit the retailing platform, how many we lose, where they exit, what kind of problems we see on the website. Sorry. Into the studio, check out, manufacturing. And in that context, we discovered that the leak, what we call the leakiest part of our funnel, so where we lose the most customers, was at the top. Right? So they come in, they see the brand, they're not engaged, and they leave. So if I need to fix the experience, there's my problem. But it required us to put all the maps together. And before I arrived, I had 12 product teams that were all running on different roadmaps, trying to fix a customer experience and adding no value, incremental otherwise, to the bottom line of the company. But by now, we've got the whole company, 400 people, anchored around a strategy of how we're going to move a customer through. Because that gives me, ultimately, that metric of conversion rate, or AOV, or getting them out the other end. But up until a couple of months ago, the business didn't know end-to-end what was actually happening. So if you don't have one, even just mapping it out, sketching it out with your design teams really helps to understand. And where you can also provide the elements of delight and also fix core problems, because your customers will have both. They'll have the moments of delight where they want to open that package and we can create beautiful experiences, but also if they call up because their photos didn't upload or 50 pictures were cut off in a book, we've got to work out how to solve that and work out why. So the next one is the customer service feedback. I actually use this more than anything rather than the more data, hardcore, quantitative stuff. I was actually going to read out a couple of our kind of stats. Because we have, I think I mentioned before, one of the biggest problems that we have is our upload. It's the biggest blocker to people actually making physical products. So while they take the photos, they don't necessarily know how to get it up. Our syncing isn't that very clear. So we can use that to solve our problems, and we can use that to drive metrics and improvements. On the creation side, it's very much actually, again, looking at it here in detail. Can't open a file, doesn't know what to do with the image, doesn't know how to save an image, can't put text on an image. And when we go through all this bit of information, you go, the biggest problems that we have that we can solve that can offer real value are image-based. And yet, for a variety, if you're looking at all this data about performance, because all our data up until then had been around how many books do we sell, how many mugs do we sell, why aren't we selling more mugs, how do we put more mugs in the market, we're missing the bit of actual insight that says it's not that they don't want to, it's just that they can't make it. Yeah? So they've become part of the elements of the things that we've been doing at Photobox. Understand and define the metrics then for each part of the journey. So we don't necessarily, we have one goal, so in a product organisation, in a product world, we can have lots of different things that we're trying to improve. We use OKRs, which is a kind of Google way of working in terms of having one clear objective and a metric that everyone goes for. For us at the moment, it is our conversion rate. So every single person is trying to work out whether a small, a big, or a major change is going to impact our conversion rate. But we also have little metrics in between. So if we reduce our contact ratio at €5 a call, then we can make massive savings in the business. If we look at getting more people in the funnel, we can actually cross-sell while also doing conversion. But every single team is looking at it from one perspective. But understanding those metrics come from that first piece, which is the end-to-end journey map, and looking at all the ways the customer is lost through the journey. We then test and learn, which again, I mean, these might sound a little bit like sort of buzzwords, but they're very key to anchor the way that we work. So while we're trying to get stuff out of the customer, we've changed the way that we work fundamentally as a team. So the test and learn isn't just about A/B. Again, when a number of us arrived from the engineering product, this just meant A/B testing. A/B testing is not the only way that you learn, whether it's user testing, whether it's throwing prototypes out, which is building a product in 6 weeks and just seeing what happens. Doesn't matter if it fails. We make it real fast. So to get it out of the spreadsheet and get it out of the data into something that a customer can see that you can test. So then you're prepared for it to fail. We're doing a major transformation at the moment, brand new website, and everything is designed on the assumption that it doesn't work, right? So to get the buy-in from the CEO, from the private equity people that are backing us, the business case was like, when this goes out, it won't work, right? It just won't, because we're doing a major e-commerce re-platform. However, part of our plan is we've got 6 months to optimise. So our entire business plan is based on it having a dip. Because in the context for a change in doing the metrics, you're never going to get, you'd be very lucky to get it right first time. I've had one that's extremely failed, not badly, but took a very long time to optimise, and one that was pretty quick, but building in that plan to optimise. And that will be with tests, it will be with user research, it's constantly trying to iterate and get those enhancements out to customer. Which then goes to the idea of prototyping. Prototyping is not just around doing it for a design context. We prototype our photography. We've just done a whole shoot this week with our customers to completely transform the brand. So kind of taking it from a very fuddy-duddy, poorly executed photographic strategy to an 8-day shoot, which was then tested every single day, which most photographers don't like that because they're used to having the script, the art direction, and how they're going to create. But the only way we were going to improve, and I swear, even though we thought it was amazing, the first shoot was terrible. It was god-awful. We put it out to our staff, we put it out to the teams, and we got feedback, and every night we kind of looked at the rushes, so to speak, went through, reshot, and by Friday the whole company not only was aligned to the new brand, but also we've got some pretty amazing shots. I mean, again, photography is an incredibly difficult art form to get right. It's not just something you design a website with a series of components. What you put inside that can have a massive difference. Airbnb's seen it, anyone who's ever worked at travel, which I have, the images can make you buy or go to a destination more than anything else other than a location. So we prototype everything, the design, the creative, the words, the architecture, the engineering, and then use that to build our metrics out to kind of scale fast. Sharing the data within the organisation, so where possible, we have lots of dashboards. I've worked in organisations, the Telegraph was exceptional for it. It had, the entire wall would have been like this and around, that just basically had every different metric in terms of social, sharing, tweeting, launching, so that when they wanted to basically drive traffic, which was built off the metric of ad revenue, they could literally watch what was going on, pivot, and they would do it so micro, they would change a title, a tag, the way that they talked about it on social media to basically drive traffic through. So they're using their designs and their content with the metrics to kind of play and experiment and scale. It does, I don't know what to say, concept into code is what it's meant to say, not COD, a little bit of a typo. Beats diagrams. Again, I know you guys, I'm assuming most people here are marketing, but one of the big shifts that we've made is put engineers in the room with marketeers from the beginning. If you work in a digital organisation and you don't have good engineers at the table, you are going to struggle to release anything, right? And engineers are our friends. If you get really good ones, they come up with half your solutions. One of our biggest metrics is actually page speed. That's not going to be fixed by a UX person. It's not going to be fixed with, a marketer that say I need to, they don't even know that page speed can have a massive impact. From an e-commerce perspective, you could basically get a 0.5 percentage point increase just by making sure that your pages load in the right time, at the right pace. It will also benefit Google significantly. So we work with the engineers from the beginning. It also allows us to get ideas massively faster to market. So where we might be doing a major re-platform, it's going to take us 6 months to get the first version in front of a customer. In fact, less. It'll be in the next couple of weeks. And up until then, we haven't been able to release something new to the customer for over 3 years with that same engineering team, right? It fundamentally took changing the way that they work with the metrics that we built out to get stuff to market. And they evolve over time, so I'm not expecting the ones that we have now to be the ones that we will always use. So the teams at the moment are very much focused on conversion rate, which is basically if we put more people through the funnel and don't even change our product offering, then we can basically increase revenue by 10%, right? If we then start playing with AOV, which will be our next metric, then hopefully we can scale with the same customers by making them buy more. But we're not trying to do too much at the same time because that will get us to a point where we won't deliver everything. But where we tilt the business and where we provide growth for our investors is by focusing on those simple goals and then using the metrics to drive performance. And then the last bit of that is to go back to why we use data. Like it's really, really, really good, and I've seen lots of people use data and talk about it for the sake of just talking about data and not actually applying it back to what a customer sees, plays, feels with the product. Because in the context of marketing, you are pushing them into a product, right? You're pushing them into something that they have to interact with. They're either buying, they're selecting, they're making, they're choosing, and that behaviour is off the back of our acquisition and how we bring them into an experience. But a job in terms of marketing and communications is then to keep them all the way through. It doesn't stop for us just in our e-commerce. Communications goes through in terms of the studio, checkout, and ultimately the delivery and how it comes back. And we make beautiful products. Like if you were to go to our website, you would not realise. The Hoffman products are some of the best printed products you've ever seen in the world in terms of they came from Bibles, and to feel them, touch them, play with them, and you look at the website, you wouldn't know. Part of that is the comms, the content, the copy, as well as the way we bring the customers in. So what our goal is to take that kind of data and then flip it back into the experiences that they share and then come back to us again and again. And that's basically it. So I kind of went on a slightly different tangent in terms of using the data to drive experience design, partly because being creative is only part of the journey, right? And it's how you put the two together, and when they collide, you ultimately get stuff that people really love. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. I'm sure there's questions. This whistle stop really, really interesting. Before I ask you if there's any questions, just one for me, if you don't mind now. The question you asked of who's got their customer journey mapped, and everyone forgot to put their hand up, hasn't got one. That's not uncommon in my experience. Is that actually I think Photobox are in a relatively unique position. So when you think about your time at Photobox back to other organisations, Telegraph, maybe Telegraph actually, where Photobox is just online until the product arrives. What are the challenges for other organisations might say, right, well, let's start there, where we've got on and offline touch points. So take Hunkerbottom, just as an example, and anyone else out in this room. From your learnings with all of those brands, where does one start from a customer journey mapping, given that kind of challenge?
Yeah, I worked at Chewy and stuff, and a variety of other organisations, like online, offline, retail store, etc. It's very, very common not to have a customer journey map. I just wanted to check where people have. I mean, when any agency, I've worked agency side before I went back to client, you would kind of generate one. What that really does, though, for me as an artefact, is it gets people to understand their role in the customer's eyes, and it makes you truly customer centric. The process is no different. You basically have to, like, whether through design research or creative research, understand how a customer moves through. They'll come through social, they'll come through Google, they'll come through direct marketing. And then what happens when they go through? Do they buy, do they purchase, or do they go into a store and wander? You know, and in a retail context, there's amazing kind of research and maps about how people go through. It determines the design of stores. You know, women's wear tends to be not on the first floor because you walk through men's, children, etc., so that you end up buying other stuff. So it's not designed in a way.
I always thought that was just because men were lazy.
No. I mean, and part of it is that you then understand how the customer, you know, walks through. Like in some of them, you know, the milk is at the back of the store. So
on any brand, to include the group, it's about the successful outcome. Because from business to business, you may not sell directly off page or drive in store. But I guess from what you're learning here is the key mapping is what actually looks like business success, right? If for business to business it's lead generation because your sales cycle is so long, you engineer processes, right, we get the optimal number of people to this point.
Yeah.
that commercially balance with the customer experience. Is that?
Yeah, and what we do is where do we lose the customers out the funnel, right?
Okay.
So it's primarily e-commerce, but like we lose, 80% of people at the top of the funnel. So if I've got a metric to provide growth, I've got to fix that, right? But I only know that in the context of how many we lose at the studio, how many we lose at checkout, and how many we lose. I've worked at other brands where it's checkout, like you get the people through, and then for some reason they can't pay. If you don't know, or you're basically I go leakiest parts of the funnel. If you don't know where you're, and even in B2B or direct, any other kind of, you don't know where you lose customers, you don't know how to get them back or how to grow new ones. So you've got to work out end to end where they are.
Okay. So any questions? Yeah, let me bring the mic over.
Hello, I'm Megan from Beauty. We do map our customer journey, but we have found it really difficult because we didn't have anything to measure or figure out the customer journey, if you see what I mean. The only things I have are kind of good analytics. We've now got a CRM system, we use Salesforce, but what do you use to map it? What kind of tools do you use? What systems do you use? I'm just wondering if there's anything that's really useful.
Yeah, so it's a mixture of quant. So part of it comes from Google Analytics, it's all analytics and performance data. We also take voice of the customer, so we have a huge contact centre that gathers all the insights and basically maps calls and costs. So there were other data sources. We then did general user research, so we do a lot of empathy mapping, face-to-face, kind of diary design research, ethnographic work to kind of understand what customers do. We do returns, and then also it's actually collecting multiple sources that exist, and where it doesn't exist, we start tracking. So as I said, in our GA, we weren't tracking all parts of the funnel. So that's where you can become blind to data, because I'm like, does anyone know what happens with photos? And they go, nope. And I'm like, okay, so we know things like, so I'll give you a good one. We worked out recently, because we didn't track it, that so we also, we have an amazing photo science team that can track photos through. So we did a bit of research that said, for when a photo is taken, how long does it take before it gets to Photobox before it's printed? So I'll ask the other, when you take photos, how quickly before you share it? Instant, day, 48 hours, etc. In Photobox, just off the exit data, it's 3.5 months. So from when the photo is taken before a customer actively thinks of us to put it into our system, which is an amazing metric for us to know if we could just reduce that in the mindset of the customer, we might be able to get them to go further. But then there was another piece of insight that we learned, which is when it goes into the system, how long does it take before they make a book? So how long does it sit while they're playing, creating? It's about 10 days. Now what we can do if we're really intelligent is that we can then do demand planning in the factory at our busiest time, knowing that, so it's about putting all the data sources together, for instance. It's like, in our peak period, we make all our profit in the 5 weeks before Christmas, right? Most sort of like Amazon, etc. But not only do we say scale, so Amazon and John Lewis scale about 2.5 times at Christmas. Photobox goes up 5 times. We also basically increase our pipe for uploads. We're uploading 35 million photos a week. Now we then will know now because we're tracking it. Next year, that as the photos are sitting there, the factory guys can know that they're about to get a heck of a lot of orders drop on a certain day, because normally you do it on Black Friday, you'll get a day and it's a hunch based on sales data. We're now tracking the image data, and the image data will actually do demand planning. Now, part of that is around just knowing what questions to ask and being inquisitive and then putting the measures in place. So to answer your question, it's whatever, find the question to ask, then find the right way to measure it, which will then find you the tool. It's probably the short answer, because it'll be anything. Social listening, there's some great ones, but it's not always a tool, it's about asking a question.
Which links actually neatly back to what Clive was saying this morning with Philip, just create a hypothesis, understand what it is you think you can do to improve or fix, and then find a way to get to it. Okay, I'm going to have to stop that. All right, thanks Mel. Thank you so much.